In this video, I'm going to be migrating the BoxtOut custom app to null safety. Hey guys, welcome back to the BoxtOut series. I'm sorry I took such a long break, but we are back now and I'll explain to you at the end of this video why this break was so long. When I do something like this, I usually start off by creating a new feature branch. So we'll create a new branch of main. We'll call that feature/null-safety. Then we can open up the customer app from the BoxtOut source folder. We'll start out by updating the SDK to version 2.9. We'll then run a Flutter pub get. And the reason we're updating to version 2.9 is so that we can get a chance of using the Dart Migrate function. I've experienced problems with it using version 2.7 and below, so I'm just being safe and going to version 2.9. Then we'll run Dart pub get, not Flutter pub get, because Dart needs to get the packages required to do a migrate to null safety. Then we can run the command that's supposed to be saving us all from the nightmare of null safety migration, which is Dart Migrate. And as you can see, that did not pass, but it is for a more valid reason than the ones I've seen in the past. This time around, it's telling us that there is unmigrated dependencies. And so we'll migrate that before we try this again. To get a list of all the dependencies that is not null safe, we can run dart pub outdated and pass in the mode and set that equal to null safety. That will give us back a list of versions that we need to update to if we want to be null safe for all of these dependencies. To make that easy, we have another command, dart pub upgrade --null-safety. This will attempt to update all the dependencies that can be updated to the null safe versions. And as you see, that fails, but it gives us another command we can use where we can specify all of the packages to update to null safe versions. This failed because of the build runner package, so we'll update all of the other packages and then we'll ignore the build runner package for now. When that command completes, it will give you a list again, just as a reminder to tell you which package is not null safe, which I think is a good idea. And now that we have updated all of our dependencies, we should be able to run Dart Migrate and hopefully get a successful run this time. And getting that successful run will output a URL that you can go to on your machine. This will highlight all of the changes required for the files to be null safe. I'm going to skip through most of these files so that you don't have to sit through me looking at a very basic implementation of any of the null safe functionalities. There's some parts that I didn't like, and I will show you specifically how I handled that instead of the way that the Dart Migrate tool showed it to us. If you go to the authentication layout migration suggestions, you'll see that the tool actually just adds a question mark in front of all the types. And so when you want to use it as the proper type that it should be to be null safe, you have to cast it. Specifically, the functions has to be casted to void function with a question mark afterwards. I don't know how to say that yet. I think you say it has to be cast to a nullable void, to a nullable function that returns void. But that's very long. I'm just going to say void function with a question mark. So that's the one thing that I didn't like. I don't think there's anything else in the code that I didn't like. A lot of the forced non-null values I don't like because those values can actually be null, but for now we'll leave it like that. Once we've gone through all of this, you can just click apply migration. That will complete the command in your command line terminal that was waiting for the apply migration. If you look at your terminal, you should see that it migrated all 20 files that we had. And so the only thing left for us to do is to go and change the implementation for the migrations that we didn't like. If we go to the authentication layout.dart file, instead of doing the cast to void function question mark for every single function that we pass in, it's going to be much easier to simply define the function as the type that is required to be. So we'll change all of the functions at the top to be the exact type that we need it to be when passing it to the parameters where it's required. When that is complete, We basically just go through the file at the bottom and remove all of the unnecessary castings, which will throw warnings to you as well. And just an overview on the null safety thing. I think it's actually very cool that this is now in existence. It's just a bit troubling and time consuming in some cases where the package maintainers are not updating their packages in time. I'm saying that as a package maintainer myself that also did not have the time to update the packages. I'm sorry about Stack taking so long. Everything is now null safe from the stacked side, from our FilledStacks packages, as well as the responsive builder if you are building responsive UI with that. It's quite difficult to keep up with the changes from Dart. They gave us enough time. I got a very early preview of the null safety, but I personally didn't have time to update that. On behalf of the other package maintainers, I know that it's difficult and I know it's causing some problems in production for some people. I think once we've passed this initial phase of hurt, it's going to be a very amazing feature to have in our code bases. Oh yeah, and that's basically it. All null safety migrations don't go this smooth. I know that. I have a few that didn't go this well, but after trying it a few times, the steps I followed is the ones that I follow, and I get smooth and better results much faster following those steps. And for that update, I wanted to give why the BoxtOut episodes took so long. The first thing was the collaboration with Fireship, which is a video that I made on the serverless cloud functions for the exact setup that we're using for BoxtOut. So please go and check that out. I'll link the video as well in the description. The second thing is that when I wanted to do the single sign-on implementation for the BoxtOut authentication, we had a very terrible error in the stacked auth package, and that was solved today by one of the new devs in the FilledStacks development team. I'll be getting onto that as soon as possible, and the next week's episode will continue with a normal development of the product. The third thing is a bit more personal. We moved recently into a new house, my first house that I bought. Very exciting. And the office wasn't set up. We still don't have fiber, so the uploads are quite slow. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I am still dedicated to this project. FilledStacks team grew by 5 additional members, 4 new developers and 1 tester. We are going to expand a bit more in the future, and this also helps us to have dedicated developers for open source that's not in the FilledStacks team, but they'll be dedicated to our packages and our issues on the open source side. That is basically the end of my update. Thank you guys for watching this migration, and I will see you next week implementing single sign-on for Google and Apple sign-in the BoxtOut project. Bye-bye.